Welcome to the Southern U Podcast, brought to you by Darden Archery on the OKest Podcast Network, with your co-host, Matt Brock, Jeremy Ferguson, and Taylor McMurtry. If you're looking for all things land-related in the Southeast, you came to the right place. Whether it's real estate, habitat, wildlife, or just being outdoors, this is the place for you. Welcome to the Southern U. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Southern U Podcast, where we talk all things land-related here in the Southeast. And today, we have a very, very special episode. I know y'all probably hear us say that every time that we get on here.
Every episode.
It's almost like a pastor, going, oh, this is a great Sunday to be at church. It's the same deal. But in all honesty, today's a great day because of who we're hanging out with and where we are at. As always, I'm joined with Mr. Jeremy Ferguson, Land Wildlife Consulting Services, General, Jack of all trades, Master of none.
Actually, not doing anything right now because of all the rain.
That's true. We are about to get washed away down here.
I did check weather this morning, and we got a few days that are dry coming up. So
planting and burning.
No, about to be cutting hay weather.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And of course, I almost said it. I didn't.
You just
almost did.
Legend.
Matt Brock of Habitat First Services, or Habitat First Properties. I'm sorry, my bad.
We just mixing you up left and right.
I know it. But the real man in the room, man of the hour, we got Mr. Devin Campbell of Alabama Firearms Academy here in Boaz, Alabama. Devin, what's up, man?
I feel special.
You are.
Yeah.
Should.
I guess it's like I get the same introductory as everybody else, I guess, when it's a special guest. But I'm good, and I appreciate you us collaborating and getting this together and y'all visiting, kind of seeing what we're about.
Absolutely. And we say this all the time, but we talk about all things land related, and it is no secret that the large majority of our listeners probably hunt, probably own guns, probably like to go sling lead from time to time.
That's it.
So we thought, what better place to go and kind of talk about all the above than here at AFA. So, Devin, thanks for having us, man. I know this is being filmed. What is this? June the 1st? Second. Sorry. Yeah. So, you're closed today, so you're up here on an off day. Appreciate it, man. You don't have
I'm
to do
typically
that
on off days, anyways. It's the time to get
the
caught
joys
up on.
of private
That's
ownership.
Oh yeah,
yes, no doubt. But yeah, man, this is just an incredible facility here. We're going to get into detail. We're going to talk about firearms. We'll talk about this place specifically. But before we jump into anything, I just want to first give a shout out to our sponsor. We've got a few of them, but we always like to highlight one in each episode. We'll give a shout out to First South Farm Credit. Joseph and Daly. We really appreciate those guys helping us out here. If you are in the market for land ownership, you're trying to set up a place to be your own or chase critters around or grow crops, whatever it is that you like to do. If it has to do with land, they can probably hook you up.
They can.
And
they can.
I actually had my land financed through First South.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Joseph, when he took over too, I've gotten to know him because he's a gun guy and he's been here and a lot of the Ducks Unlimited events and Wounded Warriors in Action events, but he's always involved, and he's involved in the community. And that, to me, that's huge. You know what I mean? Other than just trying to sell land, like he's always offering his time. So he doesn't sponsor me, but I can actually vouch that they are stand-up people, and he and himself, his whole team there, but he himself is a stand-up dude.
Yeah,
yep.
For sure, man.
Really good folks.
Well, we appreciate them. And I guess before we jump into some questions, I was going to see, number one, we'll go through weekly shout-outs. You want to do that?
Weekly shout-outs?
Well, not weekly. I guess it's, what would you call that? Because we're bi-weekly podcast, so I guess bi-weekly shout-outs. There you go. Yeah. Jeremy, you got anybody you want to shout out? It could be local or it could be celebrity. You know what? I'm going to throw.
Just go ahead.
I will. I'm going to go after one that will never see this podcast, almost certainly. But I don't know if y'all have been in tune with what like Barstool Sports has been doing lately, but they have just hired John Gruden. It's part of their yes. Yeah. And so Coach Gruden has been breaking down film. He's been doing his quarterback class like he used to do back in the day.
That's awesome.
And a lot of universities have been sending him apparel boxes. So like they'll send him boxes and he opens them up and like shows all the gear that they send him and all this kind of stuff. And it's been like that's of all the shows they have, that's easily the best hire that they've ever made, you know, because his stuff he's funny and breaks football down in a way that like an idiot like me feels like I can understand the game a little bit. So shout out Coach Gruden. I know you won't see this, but, you know.
You never know.
You never know, man.
Somebody tags him in it.
That's right.
That's it.
Chucky himself.
Rock.
I'm going to just go ahead and give a shout-out for my wife, Karen. She just had a birthday yesterday. Yeah, well, look, Luke, she holds the fort together while I'm out gallivanting and doing my thing.
There you go.
And she does a good job at it.
Y'all, at least he realizes he gallivants now.
There you go.
I don't think he used to realize that he gallivants as much as he does.
For sure.
No doubt.
I've got several.
Oh, man, here we go.
And two, I'm going to have to give him a little props. I got to shout out to Matt and Bray because they helped me get a lot of planting done last week.
How about that, man?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Mark Brenner, same.
Yeah. What's up, Mark?
Yeah. So I've been behind the 8 ball. You know, y'all know, and a lot of listeners know. My business partner Ariel's got pancreatic cancer. Been fighting that. So.
That's right.
And then what little help I had.
Little help.
Yeah. What little help I had in between Ariel, of course. You know, Trey worked for us for a better part of 3 years, but he took a full-time job. So it's just been me, and it has been tough.
Yeah.
And so Matt and Bray really helped out and got a lot of projects finished last week. Got my last exclosure fence put up around sunflowers this weekend.
Nice.
And so now we're hopefully got the planting down the short rows now, as long as it'll stay dry, which I think it's going to for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, unfortunately, the last track that I have to plant, the guy told me over the weekend that he went and checked it all. It was
still underwater.
There's standing water in every field. So I don't know that I'll get done this week or not. Certainly try. But
well, you can come cut and rake and bale hay.
I'm planning on burning. I've already got it planned out.
There you go. Devin, you got anybody, man?
You kind of stole mine.
Oh, no.
I mean,
no.
he did. I was thinking about it in just my last couple of weeks, and then – you know, anybody who owns a business understands that, you know, that's time away from home. And we do not have kids, but my wife started anesthesia school 2 weeks ago.
Oh, boy.
And, man, that's
tough.
Shout out to Fox and Flower, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is
go,
you know, most people see a facility like this and they think everything just comes easy. You know, and I say most people, but when they walk in, especially if we went to school with them or, you know, they walk in and they think, man, it must be nice. And it's like, brother,
you have no idea.
You really don't. And then with her, she's, you know, working really her full-time nursing job, and then picked up this, you know, bread business, and it was really just to make an extra $5 to $10,000 to get her admission fees, and just so we didn't have to come out of pocket, you know. And it's at Samford too, which is a private Christian university, and a lot of people don't understand the process that it takes just to get into anesthesia school. Like most people's like, you know, it's the timing's terrible. No, you have to go through step after step, and then when you get your chance, you go for it. It's like getting called up from the minor leagues. Like you go for it. And by the grace of God, she was able to, you know, apply, and, you know, UAB had turned her down several times, and then Samford, which is more prestigious than UAB, they call and they're like, hey, we want to do an interview. So she's like, yeah, I'll do it. Yes, it's more money, but they have a 94% success rate of you go to school there, you graduate. And that's where
strong.
UAB's is not the same. So I think it was just all a God's plan type of deal. But, you know, I see myself as like a workaholic and somebody who stays one step ahead, try to be. But, I mean, dude, trying to manage our farm and ducks and chickens, dude, it's just so much. And she's the reason for all of it. But in the same token, like, there's not many people that can go into anesthesia school, work a full-time job, and then, I mean, we were up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Friday started at 4 o'clock. Baked bread. I helped her because her mom was out of town, but we baked bread till 2 in the morning, back up at 7, package everything, bag it, tag it, and at the farmer's market by 8 o'clock, well, probably 8:30 to get set up. And it's from 9 to 12, and she sells out in 2 hours, and you're making an extra $1,000 on a Saturday.
Yep.
But the time, like you're sitting there, the FedEx guy, this is actually a funny story. So I'm at her mom's house, is kind of the commissary kitchen, and I had a Starbucks apron on. I didn't want to wear it, but I was like, dude, this flour. Like, if you make bread, dude, like that stuff is like Gorilla Glue. And so I didn't want to ruin the clothes I had on, so I put it on, and I hear like a loud truck backing down, so I open the door, and I forgot that I had that apron on. So this FedEx dude gets out to deliver a package to her parents. They're out of town, so I need to receive the package, and I get out, and their little dog runs out in front of the truck, so I'm trying to get him, and I kind of look like the mom. But anyway, he gets out, and he's got big gauges in his ears, tattoos, like super cool guy. And he gets out, and he goes to him, and he hadn't really made eye contact, hands me the package, and he kind of hesitates for a second. And he gave it to me, and I was like, I looked down, I'm like, it's the apron, isn't it? It's the apron. And he's like, well, no, not really. And I said, it's okay, you can say it. I mean, it had flour all over it. I said, this is going to sound so crazy. I was like, but I really am baking bread. Like, I know that's super odd, but I really am baking bread. He's like, no, man, no judgment, no pressure, whatever. And we got the package signed off on it, and we kind of got to wrapping up, and he was fixing to get back in the truck. And I said, I promise you, I'm in there baking bread. I know this is what looks crazy, like a random day on a Friday at 4:30 in the afternoon. I was like, I promise you I'm baking bread. He said, no, man, it's all good, but it's the sacrifice to do it, and that's something that I know helps both of us. Sure. And even with my own business and my personal things, to see her kind of fight at our age at 38 years old. And again, we couldn't do it. Y'all have kids. All of you do?
Nah, we don't.
Yeah. But if you have kids, I mean, I guess nothing's impossible, but to see her work ethic and everything on the front side, that would be who I would shout out for sure.
For sure, man. That's awesome. I'm glad that she got in, because I've been seeing the post, and everybody that I've talked to said, like, I mean, just the product itself, like the bread's awesome too.
Well,
so,
I don't even want to say it's a problem. Like, it's a good thing, but we started this in October, and it was just to do it until she started school. Mm-hmm. And it was just deliver it here and there. You got to go through the health department and get the commissary stuff. So you have to do that if you're going to make money off of it. Mm-hmm. It just started as something small, to make an extra $5 to $10 grand. And it makes me think of the people that sit around just around us, or people you all know, and they're just like, man, times are hard, and I don't know where extra money. I mean, she literally just thought of this with her mom. It's not like I've just got all the time in the world. She's working a full-time job, but then she just comes up with this to do it and do it right, and then it just took off. And I mean, she's made enough to pay for her first 2 semesters.
That's awesome.
And and again, it's not like you're having to do it all week. It's literally it's brutal, but it's all day Friday, the prep and all of that, because I think 15 loaves of bread through and through, after you turn the loaves and all of the things, it's like an 8 or 9 hour process. So yeah, it's huge.
Sourdough is like its own entity, like it's its own life force.
Yeah, and if you don't know, if your wife or somebody invites you to do it, like, it's worth seeing one time, but do not volunteer.
Yeah,
like, you got to grow the yeast and feed it, and then I'll spare you all of that. But
no, our listeners love talking sourdough.
Yeah,
right?
like we go from land to guns to bread.
Yeah,
no, all good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it brings up a good point, though. I tell people time and time again, he's talking about struggling. In today's world, if you are willing to get your butt out of bed, show up, take some pride in what you're doing, you're not going to go hungry.
No.
People are going to pay
It takes desire.
Dude, large companies are incentivizing you for showing up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the world we've came to, is they literally say, hey, if you're just not tardy, or you don't miss 3 days of work, we're going to pay you more money.
That's right.
Like, that's where we're at now. And it still doesn't work. Those same people, like, hey, if you just missed your allotted 3 days in a year, you get an extra $5,000 bonus. They can't do it. They really can't. And that's even with vacation days and sick days. Just do not call in on me 3 times in a year, and you can get $5 grand. They can't do it. It's impossible.
It's crazy. It's where we live in.
It is. It's amazing it's got that way.
Well, having said that, Devin, if you're good, I know that we didn't prep you for any of this, but that's kind of the catch. Is that
he don't prep us for anything.
We don't prep the guests. We don't prep these guys for questions, because I think people appreciate when things are genuine. You know, they just roll off the cuff.
Authenticity. Oh, yeah.
You know, and so
And you can, I mean, I'm pretty blunt and open book and pretty easy going, so you can ask the hard questions.
well, I mean, we'll start you off with one. This is probably the one that you probably get the most and have probably talked about the most, I guess. But
right.
origin of AFA, how did all this start? Now, I've had the privilege of doing Brand Story here when you guys first opened up, so I kind of have a little bit of an idea of what was going on. But could you maybe tell our listeners just this was an idea you thought about on the beach, and then how do you get here?
Have we told our listeners what AFA is?
Yeah, I guess
I
could open that. So I'll just briefly explain what we are, what we do, and then on the flip side of that, I can answer your question probably in between it. So actually, I can explain what it is by just introducing how it came about. So Jared, my business partner, he grew up with my wife, so it's actually her uncle, but they're almost like brother sister, which, you know, most people tell you, like, don't go into business with family. And I'm not the person that tells you to say, like, don't do it, but I also fully understand why people say don't do it. And it's not, you know, it's not a love thing. It's not if anything, it's a finances thing. And for us, it's not a decisions thing, because it's a black and white. Like, I'm totally different than him. I have a totally different mindset than him. So that's actually what works. If two people kind of want the same thing, then you're all the time trying to say this idea is better than this idea. But if they're just totally opposite, then one of them's right or wrong, or you try both of them and figure out what's right, instead of both of you trying to say this is going to work. It's just in different formats. But so Jared and I, we'd been together, you know, I've been with my wife for years, so I've known him for so long. But we did a family vacation, and I was actually I chased the money at Walmart and was a store manager. And I was a store manager, and for those of you who don't really understand Huntsville, I was a store manager in a downtown metro store. I took it because A, money, but B, I wanted that extra challenge. It was on the backside of COVID, and what we were actually just talking about, people coming to work. I was slotted for 280 some odd employees, and the whole entire time I was there, I never had more than 180. I ran 100 employees down the entire time. You'd hire 3. If they ever showed up after orientation, you'd be lucky. And then it just kind of steamrolled from there. It was backside of COVID. It was, you know, a metro area, so you're just turning and burning people. And, you know, you get into retail and see like your rural stores like Boaz or Gunnersville or out in the middle of a rural county. Those are down-home people that have been in that store probably for years. So you're just kind of changing 18, 19, 16-year-olds that are in and out of school. Well, in a metro store, it's not like that. You know, they pull your good people and move them to other stores, because within Huntsville, there was 10 total Walmarts, counting Sam's Clubs, within 30 miles.
Wow.
And it's another, I guess, a fun fact is that nobody even realizes that Huntsville is one of the most heavily populated Walmart cities in the entire country. And I say that is that total there's 16, counting Neighborhood Market, Sam's Club, and that's Huntsville and annexed with Madison. So to say that is it's basically carnage over each other's employees. So I was miserable. It didn't matter the money you make. It didn't matter the experience was great. It was. And, you know, you learn diversity on a totally different level. And that was something for me that I took that I knew I needed to do more. Like, you know what I mean? Walmart was, I promoted there 9 times. So it gave me the career I needed. So it wasn't like there was a concrete ceiling. I could always go and do more, but you sit back and you think, you know, maybe some of the older wisdom people that had told you in Walmart, they're like, one day you'll get enough screw you money. That's what they call it. And that money is, you got enough money to say, like, if it gets too bad, I'll go start something. Well, I didn't have that money, but I definitely had that desire. And so to get to where it's at, that's kind of the build-up of, you know, we're sitting on the beach and just enjoying just kind of some relaxation. And for me, I was still at Walmart and I was miserable. And Jared and I start talking, and I'm like, give me just a little bit of, because he had already said, you know, if we like him and somebody else, or if he actually did it, would you be interested in running it? And I'm like, probably not, because I don't think you can pay me, especially if I leave here and leave that money on the table, then you can't pay me what what I'm already making, and if I do it, I don't really want to go work for anybody else. I'd rather work for myself. So we talked, and bam, it just happened. And that was in July 4 years ago. And by October, so literally July, I came out and I was fully motivated. And the way Walmart works is it's fiscal year, so February to February. So as long as you're employed after February 1st, you get your previous year's bonus. That's how they pay you. So they pay you a salary, and then you get a bonus on top of it. I didn't make this kind of money, but their store managers at Walmart, like Hazel Green Walmart store manager, makes $350,000 a year. People don't even know that. They're like, but I know what he goes through. So I know it's not like, oh man, that's chump change. You know, there's doctors that don't make that much money, you know. I definitely was not making that much money. But again, for me, it was never about money. I'm not a money person. If anything, I'm more frugal, but I never chased money. I did take that store manager job for money because I wanted to be compensated for the time, but it was the challenge. It was the success. So I told him, I'm like, I don't have that getaway screw you money per se, but I'll invest what I have, and how much is it going to take? We get through it in October like the business plan was there. So we start there. This was kind of his idea. You know, I say a gun guy, but I'm just like you all. I wasn't the tactical Johnny walking around with 32 ARs and all of that. You know, I've shot guns my entire life. I carried a pistol, but wasn't a pistol shooter. Probably like you all. You know, you carry a pistol and you probably know how to pull the trigger and aim, but there's a difference between carrying a pistol and knowing, and then carrying a pistol as protection or to shoot a snake on the land. You see what I'm saying? So I wasn't that guy, and my gun knowledge wasn't there. Like, it's just like anything else. Do y'all own a Jeep or have ever owned a Jeep?
I haven't.
I know this is random, but buy a Jeep and then have to work on it. And you will see that there is a Jeep cult so deep. Like, there's a literal cult. I mean, they've got year models nicknamed, and like, there's a reason that all these ducks are in. Like, it is a cult for real. I bought a Jeep recently, and that's how I found out. But I correlate that with guns. When I got into this business, like, I thought I knew about guns, but dude, it's a totally different ball game. So to fully answer the question, that's how it came about. Is we wanted to do a gun range that was kind of set apart. We didn't have to compete with anybody here. There's not one. There's a few outdoor, but we wanted to do something that set us apart. But like we were talking about earlier, we didn't want to just go in and put mud on the wall to see if it would slide. Like, we needed to say, put all the money in, do it as nice as possible, and just see. Like, don't cut corners. I mean, y'all see by being in here, we didn't cut corners. We wanted it to be, you know, the flooring, told you all earlier, we put the flooring inside the gun range, and it wasn't to make it look pretty. It was to be inviting to women, because the whole grand scheme was have a sales floor. If we would have had more money to put into it, we would have had a restaurant, but we had Tiffany at Morgan House. She's actually came in on the backside and put the deli in, so that took that pressure of food and kitchen and all of that out. But I mean, we had millions of ideas, but it took so much money of this concrete box y'all are sitting in. Like, it was like 25% over budget when we built it. So the goal was to live off of training, to have some type of training to men, women, older generation, younger generation, youth, to have training. Number one, as I told you before, I didn't really want to sell guns. I already knew that was just a very competitive market, and guns are evolving so much that it's just like anything else. You know, you got cars that drive themselves now. You don't have guns that shoot by themselves, but there's such an advancement that, you know, if you buy this awesome gun, well, automatically within 2 months or a new release is going to come out. So gun sales wasn't the goal, but you can't have a gun range without selling guns. So we've got a 6,000 square foot retail space, which was mistake number one. The bigger the sales floor, the more inventory you got to have. So when you walk in here, it looks empty.
Right.
When realistically, if you go into a very small box, you know, store
looks full.
Maybe 2,000 square feet, you put all this in there and it's going to look packed. But you walk in here and it's like, y'all don't have anything. No, brother.
That's the same deal.
It's here.
Hey, listen, it's kind of unrelated.
Yeah.
But, it's how the church world works too.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't want a 500, 1,000 seat auditorium if only 200 people are here.
Yeah.
It looks empty, even though there's 200 people here. You know what I mean? So same deal. Like,
So we just built off the knowledge of each other, what he already knew. It was planning for a long time. It was a kind of a funny story, I guess, is when Gander Mountain shut down, Jared had called and was like, if we're ever going to do this, you know, we're going to get an opportunity to buy some really cool, like, gun-related stuff, displays and ammo cans and explosion boxes, basically fireproof boxes. And I'm like, how much is it? And he's like, if we buy it all, camera system, everything, it's going to be 10 grand. And I'm like, 10 grand? You know, we bought it and sat on it for 7 years in a storage unit. But we use half of that stuff. You know, it didn't save us just a ton of money, but, you know, he's the one that up-fronted it and kept it for the longest, but we're able to use some of that, like your carts to roll your ammo. You got to have heavy carts. We paid $50 a piece for them. If you go get one of those rolling carts now, I mean, they're like $300. Those big rolling storage bins, you know, for trash, they're like $500. We pay like $20 for that thing. So it was a process due, and the main thing was, you know, that's how it got started. We are an indoor gun range with 12 bays, or 2 bays, a 17-yard bay and a 25-yard bay, and then fully retractable systems, pretty much full self-sufficient, that you can just come in, everything's touchscreen. Training is probably the number one thing that we want to go after, but your common people that come in and just want to shoot their guns indoors, because, again, that's a downfall of doing it in a rural area. Huntsville, it's great because every subdivision, the houses are literally within arm's length, and they don't have land. They're transplant people. But here, you get them come in, they're like, I ain't shooting at a range. My uncle's dog's brother's got 20 acres out there in Crossville. I can go shoot. So it's – but then they come in and shoot, and they see that it's air-conditioned and it's hassle-free, clean up, everything. They can just shoot and go on about their way. So the gun range is obviously the attraction piece, but training – is probably the thing that we go off of the most, of youth classes all the way up, and then a sales floor, and then we've got a training room, conference room, we've got a deli in the back, and then something that I'll show you all when we're done, we have a shoot house, which is called a kill house in the back, and tried different things with it for kids with gel blasters, but really it was built for training. It's very narrow, walk spaces, 24-inch doors, 36-inch doors, breaching doors, and that's really for tactical training. Churches can use it for kind of, because it's obviously not set up like a church, but, you know, don't even show them the layout of the house per se. It's like 2,300 square feet, but put them in there and be like, all right, you've got to clear this house. Start the timer.
That's awesome.
And we did that, and then when you do things, you don't really know what's going to come of it. Boaz PD's in there doing it. They're loving it, and then the fire department got invited to see. We've got a crosswalk above the top that the instructors can kind of see.
That's cool.
The fire department comes in. They're like, "Hey, we need this." And I'm like, "What do you need it for?" He's like, "Brother, we got some big firemen." He's like, "We'll take a 235-pound dummy and put it in the very back, throw some fog in here, and start the timer, and they got to drag that body out of this." And I'm like, "That's a heck of an idea." So that. We've got a grapple pad room. We didn't really do that. A guy named Michael Elrod that's doing some pretty big training around here, they put that in because they do a full 5-phase training, self-defense, hand-in-hand combat defense. Then they do the shoot house, then they do the gun range. So there's a lot to be done here. It's a lot of overhead, but in the gist, it's a gun range that's really, and it's kind of cliche, but it's our slogan. We train, aim, and entertain, and that's it.
Yeah, sure, man. Well, yeah, I mean, that's I hope that was the best way for our listeners to kind of understand exactly what you guys. I've heard you guys say this a lot, is it's more than a range, because people will say, "Oh yeah, it's a gun range," like it's so much more than that, you know.
Dude,
I mean,
well, y'all know how deep I am into this,
right?
Devin doesn't,
Yeah.
but y'all do. It's the first time I've heard about any of that in there, and you know, I live here,
Right.
Yeah, and that's
and part of it's just I'm busy, you know.
And I would want to say shame on you, but you're one of thousands that literally they hear about it, and maybe, you know, there's so much that goes into it, and we could sit here all day, but if y'all notice when you pull in the parking lot, we had some writing out on the wall. We put like Vortex and stuff. That's not because Vortex wanted us to advertise. That's because when people pull around, we got a nice, beautiful entrance, and it says Firearms Academy. I feel like that helped us, but it hurt us more than anything, because you know how many people that 6 miles down the road walk in, they're like, "Oh, you sell guns? They think it's just the academy piece was great from a training, but it was also very, very tough to come up with a name that we can incorporate training, but also say, hey, y'all know if you come up with your own business name, it's hard. And then when we get it all done, I actually designed the logo. We paid $300 to get a logo design, and it looked like a 12-year-old did it.
Taylor
So I'm
did
like,
it?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
Did Taylor do it?
Shots fired.
But we did, abbreviation was AFA. So we'd already logged it in, but we did AFA. That's what we're going to go off of.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happened? Everything AFA is completely taken because of Air Force Academy.
Oh, wow.
Everything.
Yep.
Like, no abbreviation, no emails, nothing. Even though the colors are different, AFA was completely taken. Air Force Academy owns all of it. So that was a total, after it's all locked and done and signed LLC, it's like, well, we got to figure out. That's why you send us an email. It's info@Alabama Firearms Academy. You got to type it for 10 minutes, and it's, but it's people don't know, and there's no windows. There's no windows, so you don't get somebody to throw a rock through your window. So people can't see in and see, if they stop and we're closed, they can't see in. And then the front door, when we're closed, like y'all probably pulled by, there's a garage door with bolt-in bars on it. So it's not like you can just kind of generally kind of look in and see what they sell. No, you've got to actually physically come in the building.
Right. Well, just kind of we've talked about people a lot with this, just like the community and around kind of their perception of what you guys do and that sort of thing. I wanted to ask more of a demographic question here, just see if you had any insight. But have you seen like the demographics of gun ownership change since you guys have started? Is it pretty well the same as far as the age group or that sort of thing that's buying guns and coming in here to shoot, or is it kind of starting to move towards a different direction since you guys have started? Yes. And I say that a lot of where we live. You may not be familiar. I know you're from a little bit from not from here, but the demographics of this particular county have changed in the last 10 years.
I'm aware just because of my affiliation
Yeah.
with him.
So, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what's here.
Yeah.
And, the Hispanic community has grown. So, again, my time at Walmart has created me to understand that whether you're here illegally, legally, whatever, but like if you're a legalized citizen, no matter what, you have the same rights as everybody else does. So a lot of people feed off of, a lot of people don't even know that the Boaz Walmart is one of the largest volume turning Walmarts probably in the company. But yet you're in Boaz and there's not a lot of growth here. So it's like, that store actually has probably a 60% increase in the line of Hispanic goods, if that makes sense. Hispanic baby cakes. And well, because Crossville or these local places have more of a Hispanic population. So when I say that is not that that's an area we're targeting, but you see these guys come in and they're, Hispanic and they've got everything that they need. They actually want the training, believe it or not. Like they don't come in and they're, you've had some that are a little suspect, but they come in and they say, I want to learn. We've got one guy that, he's up here just hanging out with us all the time. And to see him grow within that, because he's been interested, but he didn't know. Like they really don't. It's not like, I say like in their childhood or whatever it may be, but like us, we grew up with country and grandfathers and shooting guns. And they didn't. So they come here, and if they want to legally own a gun or they want to shoot guns, they don't know. So the demographic here specifically, yes, for that. But as far as older generation, we have a different branding of you come here for training.
Right.
So I see the total difference of single women, widowed women that come in and they're just like, I'm scared of guns. I don't ever want to touch a gun, but I feel like somebody's trying to break in my house or I'm being followed. So that's where, when I did an interview with a news station and a newspaper, I told them two things. One, they had to kind of scrub, but I was very blunt with it. I said, we're coming here to change the whole mind and perception of firearms, for one. I'm the guy that says constitutional carry is wrong. I'm the guy that says now that they've changed the law that you can bring in your concealed carry permit and you don't have to do a background check. Nobody really knows that a lot now, but we announced it and it's been huge that's a House and Senate type of thing that's in politics, but I think it's great for us. It saves us a ton of time, but I think it's a bad call, but I also know kind of where they're going with it. You should have to do a background check if you've been in a mental institution 5 days ago.
Right.
I don't care in that mental institution to let somebody know, right? And I'll tell y'all something later that'll blow your mind that a lot of people just are kind of dumb to. But when you change those dynamics and those constitutional carry in this area, this state, in the South, whether it's not, I don't want to say liberal, but they take it and run with it. You got dudes walking around with double 1911s.
Oh, yeah.
It
They
blows
take
my
it and run with it,
mind.
and they don't know. Like, there's a guy that come in, he's like, I don't have to have a conceal. And I was like, I understand. And I didn't want to challenge him, didn't want him, we're not here for that. But I'm like, generally talking, I'm like, you carry it you carry it when you're on the water? He's like, do what? And I said, do you fish? He's like, oh, I got a pontoon. I was like, you carry your pistol in the water? He's like, yeah. And I was like, you're illegal. He's like, what? And I was like, if you constitutional carry without a concealed carry permit and you have a pistol on TVA waterways, you can't do that. And he would fight to the death, and he reads it, and he's like, you're right. And I'm like, because a law states it, that changes the demographic automatically, right? So you don't see all these people. My clientele's different because I'm not a pawn shop. It's more upscale, so I don't have stolen guns coming in to be traded. I don't have that. So the demographic automatically changes because of what we do, but I have significantly seen the amount of independent women, because that's what our market was really, is that women come in here and they feel more safe, secure. We have to have good gun control here. I mean, you've got the guys that comes in and literally pull it off their hip and be like, they'll point it towards you, and they'll be like, you got a magazine for this? And I'll back up.
I'm not the guard.
Yeah, I'm not like,
whoa.
I'm not this guy that backs up, makes a huge deal of it, but I'll grab it and turn it, and I'll be like, you ask them the question, and everybody does. Is it loaded? No, ain't loaded. Drop the magazine's empty. Pull the head back, guess what?
One's in there.
There's one in there. That's happened so many times. That's what changes for us, is that it's not just a facility to where, like a pawn shop, they come in and they say, I want to sell my gun. Okay, is it? And it's like, yeah, maybe they do pull it off their hip. But rarely ever do they have people that are actually, well, they don't, because they don't have a gun range. But those people are coming there to shoot a gun.
Right.
So they have 4 or 5. We have one guy that gets a cart. He when he pulls up, like, he has to go get a cart.
He coming to shoot.
Sounds like somebody I know.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that our range changes the whole demographic of who buys guns, but yes, in the world there's so many things changing that there's a lot of people out there that should not even be within 10 feet of a firearm.
And I want to say this about the guys that openly carry, and they can take it however they want. Who in the world do you think is going to get shot first?
Yeah.
Well, all you're doing is putting a target.
Yeah.
It's usually just for show.
It
I'm sorry,
is.
I'm not trying to hurt
It
anybody's
is.
feelings, but if I'm in a situation where I have to use a firearm, I don't want you to know till I kill you.
That's it.
Correct.
That's when I want you to find out.
Yep.
Correct.
You're bleeding when you find out I've got one.
Yes.
But all you did was just put a target on your back.
Absolutely.
Like you said, without saying getting shot first,
Yeah.
you just put a target on your back, is that if something's going to go down, you're the first one they have to either eliminate
100%.
or go after, because
Yep.
obviously you've got a gun on you.
Yep.
And why? What is the reason for you?
It's for show.
Looks.
Just because I can.
Like,
They
you can't,
wanna look
you
cool.
ask them and they can't, well, I can, that's my legal right. Okay. But why do you do it? They can't answer it. They won't answer it.
Nope.
Rough.
Rough stuff.
Yeah, and how people carry, too. I get, and this is not a slam on anybody else, but the age group now, the younger folks that I see, and appendix carry's fine, but tucked in your belt, you know, no holster, especially the guys that's doing it with a Glock 30 round mag hanging out the back. You're like,
That's the clip. The mag is the clip.
yeah. It's
Yes.
like, well, it's like, what are you doing?
The mag is the clip that holds it on the belt, so the
Yeah.
clip sticks out. So that's your holster clip. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have a safety on it, by the way.
So I see those a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, whoa, guys.
That day in the life of, brother. You could come here when we're busy, and it would, yeah.
I need to come around here and just people watch.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be fun.
Devin, I got another one for you here, which you've already kind of talked about a little bit, but if you maybe want to talk maybe in a little bit more detail. What role does AFA play when it comes to promoting firearm safety within the community? I know you've just spent some time talking about,
Yeah, that one's kind of easy. Is that, yeah, I mean, that's it. What I talked about earlier is you want to be seen as, if you come in and you do unsafe things, and what I mean by that is, somebody just comes in, right, and they don't know anything about guns, and you take a gun that we know is dry, we know it's safe, it's dry, it's on the wall, it's got a tag on it, and you give it to them, and they want to see it. It starts there. Mm-hmm. Like most people, again, and it's not a knock to, because I don't know whether it be pawn shops or whatever, but most of your firearm stores that do that, I would be interested to see if they give you a gun across the counter, which is different from us. I'm standing beside you. Mm-hmm. Like I'm with you.
Never place anything between you and the customer.
The business model was Verizon, if you think about it. Mm-hmm. If you walk out here, it's like Verizon. I don't particularly want glass doors on. I would love for you to be able to interact with the guns. Mm-hmm. But in the same token, you have to have a ton of staffing if you do that, because people are doing whatever, and they could bring a magazine in themselves. Mm-hmm. So to answer that is, somebody, you get them a gun, you show them just a regular gun. As soon as they grab it, they'll hold it this way. You're showing it to them. It's like, we don't want to be that overbearing, but we'll be like, all right, look, so make sure you hold it at the ground, mm-hmm. Point it away from people. So it's the training starts there, as to where maybe in other places you don't. But when they see that off the rip, or they see when they bring their gun in to shoot that you fully check it, we give them chamber flags that have our logo on it. Mm-hmm. But they have to put that in the chamber to make sure that gun, or they are showing whoever that gun is completely open, mm-hmm. unloaded. You don't have, we have dedicated places for the gun bags. You have a deli in the back, which is sometimes a challenge, but we've eliminated any customers really just walking around with an open, we encourage, not everybody comes in with a bag, but it mm-hmm. says at our door, there's a reason. All guns must be bagged, holstered, mm-hmm. so forth and so on. So you don't have 5 people walking around with just a gun. Mm-hmm. Even our employees try, if we have to take a gun to the back or we're walking around, I'm not saying it's that way 100% of the time, because it can get tough, but we put a chamber flag in it to show the people shopping, or mm-hmm. the people that, mm-hmm. I mean, you got to think, if you got a deli, and it's a deli, it's not like a beefy hamburger, grown man, rah-rah stuff. Like a lot of women come in here. Mm-hmm. So if you think about that as the business owner in the deli, that could pose a challenge if my people are not safe walking around and they walk in and they got 10 guns flagged at them. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So that's the whole dynamic of when you walk in and you see my employees, myself, and we'll hold each other accountable too. Mm-hmm. If you get somebody's gun out of here and it's jammed, I've done it. I'm the owner, but I've got their gun jammed, drop the magazine, it's jammed. Well, I don't always go get a case to put it in. I might have to take it to the cleaning room, mm-hmm. which is out and around. You have to physically think like it's jammed, so there is a live round in it. If we can't get it extracted here, we've got to take it into the cleaning room. But then that gun we may not even take it out of here. We'll go get the tools and bring them in here. Mm-hmm. We're not going to take a live rounded gun and put it in the cleaning room to try to get that shell out. But if it's a dry gun and we walk out, it needs to have a flag in it if it's not in a case. Mm-hmm. So I think the appearance of when you walk in here is that you're safe. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to itself if the deli's doing great and it's all nurses and teachers and the majority of it is women, if they feel comfortable. I've never, not one time since she's been here for 3 years, have we ever had a customer complain. And I think that's a huge testament
Yep.
is that you're in a gun range. And it doesn't make sense, honestly, and her deli does great. Like it's everybody knows about it. It's a great thing. But that is a testament to my people. It's a testament to our gun ranges and our customers too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I can tell you other gun ranges we went into, and it's like anybody. I mean, they're standing out behind the firing line. They're shooting full autos sideways, or not full autos, but pistols sideways, or there's blowholes in the sides of their walls from where they've tried to eject a shotgun shell, but their fingers on the trigger, blow a hole through the side. So I think that itself is how we've kind of marketed it, is we don't have to go out and speak about it as long as you're here and you see it. And then with that many women coming in to eat and they've never said they felt uncomfortable or anything like that. That's huge.
Oh yeah, my wife and all the girls that work for her come up here.
Yeah.
Fairly regular. I mean,
Yep.
from Albert One Gunners. So, and a lot of them are not gun people.
Yeah.
My wife is, but the rest of them
And there's
aren't.
a lot of women that eat there that are scared to death, and it's not like any of them ever said, "I'm not going to eat there because it's a gun place," ever.
Nope.
And it's because we don't allow that. We don't allow you to feel unsafe, especially you watching a safety video and having to come in here like it's a literal. There is no questions asked, and that's the dynamic of it. Is anybody and everybody's welcome at your own discretion. If you come in and you act crazy or I could just go on of how much in 3 years that we've seen, and we've had a fully legally blind guy come in that was shooting, carries a pistol with him every day. I won't go into all of that, but Saturday had a guy that was first time, he was fully deaf, been deaf since he was young. And he didn't know. He's got a translator on his phone. He's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do, whatever. Well, how do you do that? Well, I've got an instructor that's phenomenal. And took him in here, and I was busy, and I was on the range, and he comes walking out with him, and the guy holds his target up. I mean, he shot really well. And first time he's ever shot a gun. So it's like there's different dynamics within that, but if we can, I don't want to say teach a legally blind he's 92% blind. The thing about that guy was up until October 2 years ago, he'd carried a gun, was a gun guy, but he had an aneurysm and it caused his eyesight to go out. So he understood the functionalities of a gun. It wasn't like you were just teaching him, that would be really tough.
Right.
So he understood. The problem is what he used to with muscle memory, he doesn't know anymore. But he's also has the same right as we do is, by cracky, I carry a gun and I've done it for 20 years. Just because I'm blind doesn't mean I can't. There are safety concerns with that, but the man is actually coming to a gun range to at least say,
Yeah.
even if I carry a gun and I get robbed because I'm blind, whatever, I can at least fire it up in the air. But he's able to come in and shoot, and the first 10 minutes was a little rough because the niece or daughter wouldn't let us intervene. But he just comes straight in, and he didn't ask us for help. She said, I'll handle it. Well, she's holding the gun and trying to aim it for him, and then he's shooting the ceiling, the floor. So Robert goes in. He's like, hey, let me try. Well, she loses her mind, makes it, feel like we're kind of downplaying it. It's like, just give us 10 minutes. Robert comes in, takes a piece of wood this long, goes and gets the 43X out of the counter. It's got a laser on it, dry gun, no ammo. Stands him right here, puts the target down there. He takes the gun, puts the wood across his arms. And Robert says, present this for 10 straight times, muscle memory. So the laser, you can, that's smart. I didn't think of it. Robert did. But he's, lasers at the ground. And then the laser's up top. And then he's just trying to get it. But the wood should never fall. So he keeps doing it. Over time, then he goes, now he dry fires. And then that laser just started getting closer and closer to the target every time. And then you just continue doing it. So we end up giving him a magazine. And that was it. 10 minutes of just so he's not shooting the floor. And, and it's like people don't think of that. They really don't. They don't think of those things that you're posed with in this type of environment. If you do get all shapes, colors, forms, sizes, knowledge, everything, you have to present yourself as a safe facility. And sometimes that's a knock to us because, these other places that sell tons of guns, they'll sell it to anybody and everybody. And we're compliance driven. If you come in and you're not able to sell a gun, whether it's an expired ID or we're not going to sell it to you. We're just not. And I can't risk that. This facility can't risk it. So I think it's presentation. That's the struggle is it costs money to present it that way.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't do it, if that makes
Well,
sense.
and I think, you guys too, you offer whether that be monthly or quarterly, training events too, where you try to get people to sign up and say, we're going to have a handgun 101 or 102 or based on your level of skill and experience, that sort of stuff. So there's things that you guys are actively promoting, trying to say, hey, we want to be a resource for you.
And it's actually got to be pretty decent in the community because I came across one of y'all's training that you were going to hold here that didn't come from local. It was a contact I've got, in the gun industry. I think they're out of Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
And a bunch of people had shared, and it got popped around till it hit me. I was like, well, dang, that's here. I was like, how did that get from there to here?
That's the struggle is if you offer a free class with no registration, you might have 70 people sign up or say they're coming because you won't have registration of payment, but you got 70 people coming and 5 may show up.
Yeah.
So again, it costs money to do that, and then you only have 5 show up, and if it's free, it's like, well, even if you just can get those 5, you've made a difference. And going back to what I said about the newspaper and TV show is they interviewed me and asked me, like, if you could say one thing about AFA and why you're doing it, like, what would it be? And I just come off the rip. It was standing outside in the front door, and I'm like, if somebody, number one, this is kind of a quote that we don't go off of because it's not just out there, but the only way to combat evil is to arm a good Samaritan with violence. That is a very blunt, we're not going to put that out there. But I use that in different literary terms is Food City had just kind of been built, and I'm like, if somebody gets out at Food City and you see all these other places of violence and hate and just the devil, like that's what it is. It's evil. And they get out and they just pick people off in the parking lot. And then they just pick people off in the store until the cops get there. I, in a roundabout way, said, if somebody, and I said Food City, and I probably could have worded it a little different, and they kind of scrubbed it after it was done. But if somebody wanting to commit evil violence at Food City gets out, I want them to have to think 1 second and think, there's someone in this parking lot that's trained, that's better than me, that has the gall, the audacity, and the knowledge that is going to take me out before I kill women, children, all these things. And maybe I could have worded it differently, but that was the literary, that's the truth
wording.
Is that
I mean, I don't
if
have
somebody's
anything
going to
wrong
do that, I would rather know that there's people in that parking lot, 25, 30, 40, 50 cars there, that some man, woman, hell, it could be the woman.
That's right.
They could get out and they could say, if I run from it, I could get shot. Not, a lot of times there's a chance for you to get away from it. Deny, defend, all the things, but there has to be that thought process is you have to think, why do those people go to those places, schools, churches, because they're sitting ducks.
Yep.
They're sitting ducks, and it's, again, we won't get into all that, but I want it to be that even if it's 300 people in 3 years, so 100 people a year, that's 100 more people that are armed, that's not scared of the firearm, they know the functionalities of it, and they can actually shoot.
Yeah.
And if they have to defend themselves, they know it within their rights, they're legal, they're safe, all of the things. People don't want to hear the truth. It's like going to the doctor. They don't want to pay or give you anything that's good for you.
That's right.
They don't. They'd rather, all the things that's good for you, you have to pay bukus of money for. But they're sure enough going to give you everything that's bad for you. The same thing within the training facilities that are around, the world, but we're the only one in this area. And that's where that, with a concealed carry permit, they're going to let you do the concealed carry permit and not do a background check. I feel like that's gearing towards, hopefully that's a kudos to this business, is to get a concealed carry permit, it's not to walk in with a tooth, maybe one tooth, maybe none, and a strand of hair, and I get a concealed carry because I don't have a felony on me. What's going to happen is, you got to pay your $25, but you've got to go through some type of training. You need to go to AFA, and you need to get a 2-hour class on what a trigger is. You know what I mean? And that's what I think's coming from it. But
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that was what I heard you say over and over when we were doing your initial video, was like, it's more than range, and we just want the community to know that we want to be a resource for them. We want
Correct.
people to know that they can come here,
Yep.
and we will help them no matter what their skill level is, no matter what their experience level is. Like, this is the place to come.
Yeah.
It's not just a bunch of gearheads that,
For sure.
that sort of stuff. Cause,
And a lot of places treat you that way.
yes.
You
Yeah,
know, they want to intimidate you to make themselves feel superior. And that's, especially
you
in
see
this
that a lot,
industry, that's tough.
because the women that come in here and then, their husbands with them are like, y'all need anything, we'll come in there with you. And the husband's first one, he says, nope. 5 minutes later, the female's sitting out here watching. You want to know why?
Done.
Don't matter. No matter how much you love your wife, she respects you, you can't teach her how to shoot a gun. Some people can, grandfathers, uncles, but if somebody different, because the problem with it is that you bring your wife in and you're trying to show her. You know what makes her mad. She knows what makes her mad. Whether it's just a small little verbiage that you say, you do this at home all the time, whatever.
Yep.
You know those things and those tendencies about that person. Let somebody that's totally different train them, because they're going to listen more. They're going to soak in that information a lot more. And I see it all the time. And then usually, the males may come out, or whoever it may, the female may come out and be like, I can't do it with him.
Yep.
Just can't. And it's usually the female to the male.
Yep.
But I just can't do it with him. But then you get the females come by themselves, and you see the progression of it.
Well, then women are by and large, from my experience, much better shots.
So much better.
And they listen better and take
That's what I was gonna
advice
say.
better, or
You know why?
instruction better.
One thing. You want to know why?
Pride.
Bingo.
Yeah, they don't have.
Just like the guys with our classes, red dot, carbine, pistol, it's rarely ever men. They come in, their pride's so big that it takes – and there's some men that are – they just come straight up and tell you, be like, I don't know. I don't know. Show me, teach me. But the majority of them, guys like us, outdoorsmen, whatever.
Been doing this my whole life.
Dude, they would make out with a copperhead before they told you, hey, I don't know how to
Help
shoot a
me with
gun.
this.
Yeah, they won't do it. They won't go to a class. Even though they need it, they will not do it.
And I'll be one of the first ones. I'll come in here and take every pistol class you got, because I'm terrible.
Yeah.
with a handgun.
I mean, I remember Alan saying it when I worked for him at the archery shop. You get these dudes that go to the gym all the time, and they're swelled up huge, and they'd go grab a 70-pound bow off the wall and never shot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I got it. It's like,
And they can't.
Hey, man.
Can't
Didn't sit here and struggle trying to get the bow
they
back.
can't even
and it's
make a
like,
full draw in it, yeah.
But then you take a lady over there and go, all right, relax. You want everything to be linear when you get a full draw, and they listen and do it. And
Patience.
they're good shots, and you know what I mean? He used to say it all the time, like, they make a lot better archers than men do.
That's a fact.
More of a lighthearted question here. Just what's the best selling? I mean, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but best selling handgun, rifle, shotgun that you're seeing over the last 3 years. Maybe an accessory too, if you got something that people are
Accessories is by far, no doubt, a suppressor. There's nothing comparable. And I always tell people, again, of owning guns, not being a gun guy, but owning guns, you see people come in and drop. They won't eat for 2-3 weeks, but they'll buy a gun.
Yep.
So I know those guys, and I tell them all the time, and a lot of them never buy a suppressor because they either don't want to wait or they don't want the government to know their address. And I'm like, brother,
they know.
you got a cell phone in your pocket.
They know everything you do.
You got a cell phone in your pocket, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't matter at that point. So there's this, it's a very common misunderstanding about suppressors, which that may change now. But suppressors for sure. I mean, we've sold, I can't even tell you how many suppressors, and it's to a lot of people that have waited so long that they're now their friends, and then it takes them one time to shoot with one.
Right.
And theoretically, there's a lot more things that should be regulated within the gun industry than a suppressor.
Amen.
Because a suppressor is not there's nothing non-safe about it. You get what I'm saying? If anything, you take your daughter or son and put them in a shooting house and let them bang a 308 out, it takes one time, and it's like but we talk about it all the time. That right there is the prime example of flinching, missing your shot, and being scared of a gun.
Yeah.
Is
It
the bang.
teaches bad habits.
It
It does.
Yes, it does.
But if I can throw a suppressor on there and I can slow that crack, slow that recoil down, there's everything about it. So without going into details of that, the Hearing Protection Act changes everything, where you're talking $80 million a year in tax stamps to the government goes away. Something will follow it. They're going
Absolutely.
You're not going to take
Yeah.
$80 million from the government and say, oh, well, we're just going to give it back to the either
Right.
suppressors are going to go through the roof and they're going to be taxed differently, or, I already know this, you're not going to be, listeners, people that really think about or they've thought for the longest about getting a suppressor, whether you buy it from me or if you want one, get one now, because I've got 3, but the 2 that I got first, it took me a year and 6 months to get them. And a lot of people are impatient because at the time suppressors are kind of up and coming, and I'm $2,000 in, and for a year and 6 months I don't have anything but a little piece of paper that says wait longer.
Amen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like straight up Ace Ventura style.
Yeah, if I'm not here, just wait longer.
Yeah. If I'm not back in 5 minutes,
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
So you think about that, and it's the accessories is huge in suppressors, but if they pass this Hearing Protection Act, when the new colonel came in on the government side and Secret Service got involved, and they said these 9-month average wait times is ridiculous. Why? We're getting all this money, like why? Well, they took it from a 9-month average, which I thought that was generous. It wasn't 9. It was over a year.
Yeah.
And that now it's 30 to 35 days. Well, what that did was push literally everybody to go buy them because they didn't want to have to wait.
Yeah.
Well, now all of your popular good cans are completely back ordered and out of stock for, there's people still waiting on cans. Well, that resorts them to get a cheaper can or find another can. Like, it's not like you can, there's only just a certain amount of cans you can get. So that is seeing that. And then if they pass this act that you can't, you don't have to go and pay a tax stamp, something will change. But even then, if you think they're bad out of stock now, you won't get one.
There's going to be a run.
You will not get one.
It's bad. And I'm probably an outlier here, but I've bought 4 or 5 in the last year. My longest wait time on any of them in the last year has been like 6 or 7 days.
Yeah.
I was approved on an SBR in under 24 hours. A few weeks ago. It's just the turnaround time now is unbelievable.
And they seen that as money too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because 9-month wait time kept all these people from coming and getting them. And we're like, again, they said, well, we're waiting on 9 months, but let's reduce it and you'll get more money, again, all the things that come with it. But the suppressor for sure, that is there. I've always told people there's 2 things. You spend all this money on guns, you have to have a suppressor for your kids, your wife. My wife shoots a 308.
Oh, they're great.
They are fantastic for hunting.
And it's everything. It really is. And then you think for home defense, if you've got a little short SBR, if a home defense type of deal where you don't really want to, it's not about waking neighbors up at that point. If somebody's robbing you,
That's
but
it.
the
More flash control.
yes, there's
things
just
like
some
that.
recoil, all the things, but accessory suppressor 110%, maybe a thermal. We won't go into that, but a thermal's pretty
Nice.
awesome. But guns in general, when somebody comes out with something that sells, every other manufacturer is right on top of it.
Yeah.
So it changes so fast with really the amount of cost and what comes with a gun. But there's a gun called an EZ, is a 380 EZ, and it's got so many different functionalities on
I
it.
carry one.
And it's known more women get it because it's a little bigger. It's not a small one.
There you go.
And so many women come in here, men, they're like, yeah, I got my wife a little bodyguard 380 and it's this big. And they hate shooting it. They hate it.
Yep.
Matt's got little hands and not enough strength to pull the slide
Let
back.
me tell you why I bought myself an
Well, they're
EZ.
easy. They're easy. That's why.
I bought my wife one. And while I was sitting there purchasing hers, I liked it so well, I said, do you happen to have 2?
Right.
And he said, yeah, so I'll just take both
Yep.
of them. That's how I ended up with EZ.
Yep. So what I've heard in this whole conversation is you've bought 5 suppressors and you're buying 2 guns at a time, and I've never met either one of you.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Yeah, that's probably my fault, honestly. But yeah, the EZ, and again, things are changing with that involving, but it's because it's got a thumb safety, it's got a backstrap safety for grip, it's got a chamber indicator if one's in the, if you leave it on a nightstand and it's just you and your wife, not on a nightstand if kids are there, but whoever picks that gun up can automatically identify if it's loaded.
Yep.
There's just so many things about it. The ease of access, older women with arthritis, some younger women, that they don't have that grip strength. I mean, you can take your pinky and take the rear sight and slide it. So that, I would say, is, a lot of the bodyguard people pulling them, and they hate shooting them, and it's because the barrel's short, they don't get enough grip on it.
Oh, yeah.
And the recoil,
They
the
just
bang
snap
and the
it.
recoil,
They
and they
can't.
can't. They just hate it. You put that easy in their hand, they can fully grip it, fully control it. Still got a bang to it, and then they're like, "Well, I don't mind having a little bit bigger gun."
Right.
And we tell people all the time. They come in, they're like, "Don't want a 380. Take a 9. Take a 40. Take a 45. Don't want them to have a 380." And I'm like, "All right." So we go in, and they've got a 9mm that's maybe a small one or whatever, and they can't even hit the target. But if you put the 380 in their hand and it's comfortable and it's got all, they automatically feel safer with it when it has a thumb safety and a backstrap
That's
safety.
right.
So that already makes them comfortable. And then they're literally targeting, just sitting there making clovers out of it. And you look at it and you're like, it don't matter. If you've got a 45 and can't hit the broadside of a barn, but you have a 380, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just shot location, it's comfortability.
It's rounds on target.
Correct. So the 380 is
It blows my mind that people want to carry a 45 or a 10 millimeter, things like that, knowing good and well that you're not going to put a lot of rounds on target with that firearm under stress.
Correct. You're not.
Standing here, sure.
Yep.
Under stress, you're just not going to do it.
And the EZ too is most of your women women are probably the worst about it, but they keep a gun on them because they keep a gun on them, if that makes sense. Well, hang on a second. Let me get my purse out, unzip the zipper. I'm going to get it out of that. Maybe it's in a holster. Get it out of the holster. Then I've got to rack one. Hold on a second, perpetrator. Let me do this real quick. It's the mental piece, and then when they get it, they may not even know how to use it. Yep. That gun allows them to keep it in their purse because of the safety mechanisms. God forbid a child or somebody who gets a hold of it. They don't have the grip strength to hold the backstrap safety, and there's just so many things about it that we've sold more of that particular gun to anybody. And again, it's because I can walk them straight. We have a demo. I can walk them straight in here and let them shoot it, and they're like, oh, that's it. You know, that's the game changer. Canics overall is a pistol because they're more modern. They come with everything, so any Canic really sells here. And then from a rifle standpoint, I would say 308, it used to be 6.5 during COVID. 6.5 Creedmoors were really popular.
Everybody jumped on
They jumped on the bandwagon. I'm not one, never have been, but a 308 is probably where I would say any 308 long rifle is the way to go. ARs have died. They just have.
Really?
They're down.
The ARs that you see now of people, I say people like us that are not tactical people, I've sold more ARs than a 350 Legend because they go mag dump and run dogs.
Yep.
And they do it for eradication of population of nuisance or whatever. But, I mean, these dudes are getting it's almost like a firing line, but they get there and they put a red dot. They don't even put a rifle scope on it.
And all these states are putting straight wall cartridges in for muzzleloader too, so it's just going to up the popularity again.
So your ARs have really dumbed down some, but I would say that if anything, like a some of these weird odd caliber ARs that have came out, that's kind of where it's went.
I have noticed the ARs that I see moving a lot, different places. It's almost like those manufacturers treat their sales kind of like Rolex does.
Oh, yeah.
Huge media packets, all that, and they control numbers heavily on what they release. You'll see drips and drabs of guns out there, and they're demanding dumb prices. Yeah. But just because they're hard to get.
They are.
So what about, like, for you guys specifically, like when hunting season kicks off around here, rifle season opens up, is that a big boost for y'all? Like, do you get guys coming in?
It is the boost.
Do y'all get guys buying ammo for hunting season and stuff like that?
Ammo is a very competitive market. That's hard to. It just is. Reloads have kind of used to. Reloads would just kill you, but now it's just as expensive to reload because of gunpowder. But,
Amen.
Yes, and I say that as we found a very good niche that has been huge for us. Is that we're only 25-yard range. But my guy that does the instructor, he's got this program that you put your ballistics in. And, I mean, I've got guys literally, because y'all know, these hunters that are, I don't want to say lazy, but they're leaving to go to Kentucky tomorrow. Literally. I'm going to Kentucky tomorrow on a 2,000-piece parcel. I'm going to hunt for 3 days. Chances that them seeing 130 class deer to 180 class deer, probably likely, maybe. They bring the gun there Friday morning. They pick the gun up Friday afternoon. They drive overnight and hunt the next morning.
I'm not that lazy.
Used to.
No, you're not that lazy.
You need to go to a 200-yard, 300-yard range in a pasture. What we've created is I've got 5 guys. I know they'll be here whenever their season opens, whether it be Illinois, Kentucky, or whatever. But they literally will show up with their gun, and they just want it sighted in, just resight it or whatever. But ballistics chart, bring me the ammo. Let me put the grain, velocity, what that ammo is, put it in, and this target calculator puts it up, and then we bore sight it. We've got a through barrel bore sight, and then we've got a magnetic one that goes on the end of your gun. For rifle scopes, that's the easiest way to do it. We bore sight it, and then it's a 2-shot, maybe a 3-shot patternization that we got your gun sighted in. And it is, if it's a good gun, right, like if they've taken care of it, I mean, sometimes you look down the bore and it looks like literally a cave. There's rock chips in it and carbon buildup. But, if if it is, we'll clean the barrel out, because I don't want them to go up there again. I'll tell them, I'm like, bro, you're facing potentially, if you miss a 170-inch class deer, that's on you.
You're going to blame me.
Because they don't even shoot it. That's the crazy part.
That's right.
They will not. I used to take them to my farm and I'd shoot them, sight them in, because I love doing it. But now we can do that on spot and have it done in 20 minutes. And I've had guys call me and be like, I didn't even shoot the gun. And I'm like, shame on you. Like, we always tell them, at least shoot the gun, because everybody shoots a gun differently. You know what I mean?
Do.
Whether it's the
100%.
way that they're, if their hour relief, there's just so many different things. And they wanted 150. We put it in there. That helped us tremendously, because that does two things. Not only do we maybe get a gun sell out of it, but if they bring us the gun, if the scope's bad, whatever, we sold a ton of scopes. We linked up with Vortex, and didn't want to do Vortex in the beginning, but Vortex is the way to go from a price standpoint.
It is.
Sure.
We dabbled in the Leopold, Trijicons. Again, we're in Marshall County. A lot of people don't come in and fork out $1,200–1,300 for a scope. So that helped. The ammo is kind of one of those deals. People are, again, like with Jeeps, they only put 89 fuel in their Jeep or whatever the deal is. I only put match grade in my gun. There's nothing, so ammo's different. But what we have here, without having a 100-yard range and to be able to sight your gun in and it be, I'm talking maybe an inch off at times. I bet we sighted in 80 to 100 guns last year, and we didn't do that the years before. And that's not a huge profitability, but we charge you $25. You bring your gun, you bring your ammo. We give you the target. That's the difference of where you drop it off, and they're like, I give you the targets, and I make my guys and me. We give you your casings we shot, and we give you the target we sighted in on. You can't argue that now. Most of the times they take 6 rounds out of it, and and I'm not saying everybody does that, but it's good and sighted in, but you never see the target they shot. And it's like, well, I want to see my pattern. I want, that is huge. And it's hard for them to see it too, because the way that ballistics chart does it, you need to aim here, but your penetration needs to be here. So then you have to explain it to them. It's like, well, look, you're on this whole little bell curve. You need to be shooting lower, and then all these things. But yes, that is something for us without having a 100-yard range. It's like, how can we – nobody's going to come in and say, sight my gun in. It's 25 yards. And then most people don't even know you can shoot anything larger than a pistol in here.
Yeah.
That thing is rated for a .338 Lapua.
Gotcha.
Again, when people ask, well, what kind of gun you shoot in there, I literally look at them. I'm like, if you hold that gun and you say it's crazy to shoot it indoors, then that – and I mean by – we've shot 300 Win Mags in there. Nobody's going to bring a 300 Win Mag bolt and shoot 200 rounds in here. They're just not.
They're just not, yeah.
But 30-06s, 308s, AR-10s, all the things they can shoot in here, they don't even understand. Like, they don't make sense. But now we've got guys that'll come in. I got a guy that goes out west. He'll come in every year. He brings us 270, brings us 308, and he just shoots them and does the ballistic charts. And that is a market that I did not think that we would do. And that even bleeds into, we went to 70 ranges, 65 of the ranges are 80% tactical.
Yeah.
We did that. We were 80% tactical. Straight up fell. We started getting Stogers, Benellis, started putting more bolt action rifles, more of a hunting line, changed everything. Because the theory is that you have a gun range, again, with only 25-17, why have, bolt action deer rifles? But again, it's all blending and learning with the customer and base that you have, and that's something that we did off the rip. Was like, we're not, you'll sell your cheap ARs, but I sold Stoger and Benellis all day long, as long as you can be competitive in price, and mainly because you can't find them around here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Dan, I got one more for you, man. Is there what's one thing, I even asked you this in the video, I think, if I remember right, but what's one thing about AFA that the average person may not know that you'd like for them to know? If that's, that people can use your facilities for other things outside of gun-related stuff. I know that there's been other events that have been hosted
Yeah.
here. There's, you know what I mean, or maybe something else, whatever you want to share.
I think if we could just summarize the previous 4 questions,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about, having people with ADA, if they need assistance, whether they're blind, they're deaf. We've had people that have we had a military vet come in here, and he kind of operates off of a wheelchair, and he kind of, I wasn't specifically in here, but I mean, his hands, like he doesn't, people just think, when you walk in here, you got to be a good shot. I think that, I guess that might be it. Pride. He's talking about it like you walk in, it's like, I'm not going in there, I can't shoot. Like they think they have to be a good shot, and that's not why I opened it.
Yeah.
I didn't open it because yes, I opened it for people to understand. I think that is probably one. I didn't mention it earlier, but I mean, we've had the full autos or something that I can't sell them, right? We have 18, I think. 14, I can't remember.
But you can come
some
in
of
here
them go down and
yeah.
out, because like that M249 sitting back there, it's $50 to rent it.
Yeah.
And it's exhilarating. It's $50. If all of us came in and we wanted to rent, it's $50. It might be expensive, but it's just that one rental, and then you buy $12 boxes of ammo. Yeah, it can get expensive, but you're never going to do it anywhere else, for one.
Yeah.
Where can you go shoot a grease gun?
It's fun to hear one go burn.
So I think the full autos is it's $50 to shoot the M249, but the P90 it's $50 or $35. The problem with the P90 is the ammo is insanely expensive. So they contradict themselves. But we've had a full auto experience package that we give like for Christmas, and it's a really good Christmas gift, honestly. A lot of the parents, because you got to be 21 to shoot a full auto here. Parents come in, they'll ask about it. It's like, no, they got to be 21. Well, some men, maybe not necessarily military guys, but men that are like, and I honestly think Call of Duty really helps that.
Yeah.
It does, because we've got 7 guns that are common on we had a PPSH. It's down now. It's been broken, but we had a PPSH, and now people are nuking everybody on Call of Duty with a PPSH. And like they think, I'll never see this gun. You walk in there and it's there. I mean, all the kids, when we had it on the wall, they're just slobbering over it.
Yeah.
And it's exhilarating to shoot, but we've had 3 bachelor parties in the last probably 4 months that come in. Instead of going to Nashville and chasing women and paying $13 a drink, they're like, hey, let's go to the golf place next door. Let's hit some golf balls. Probably need to come here first if they partake in some adult beverages.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
Come in as a group. They all the guys that, the groomsmen pitch in. Let's say you pitched in $100. It's not even expensive when you think about what you would have to spend if you went.
Oh, yeah.
Even a golf
Do anything
place.
else.
So $100, you spend, I don't know. It's not a dollar amount thing, but $500 could get you a lot of fun in here with ammo. If everybody, you got 5 groomsmen, they all pitch in $100 for the groom. Dude, it's we got a facility that we rent out where you can have drinks, your foods. Especially if you shoot, you can't have adult beverages, but like you can have your drinks and your food here, and then have your party, whether it be a birthday party or we've had reunions here, we've had baby showers, we've had. A friend of mine, actually, they put balloons downrange, and then we had a suppressed gun, so nobody had to wear – we all had eye protection, but nobody had to wear earmuffs. The whole – there's bulletproof glass behind us right here, so the whole gallery was here. The family was in here. The mom and dad were standing here, and then all of the balloons are lined up. So he's just plinking them off with a 22 suppressor. Like, that's awesome to me, because you see the videos of the complete fails of gender reveals.
Right.
And, that was for us that was an experience that I didn't know. And they put powder inside one of the balloons, and we hung them. And that was just, I didn't open it for that. I had no clue. I had no clue that would even be an option for somebody. Cool. And then, they record it, and the video is just awesome. And it's just, I think that would be the biggest thing is, yes, it's more than a range, but 9 times out of 10, if you come up to me and be like, hey, what about this? The initial answer may be no, but we're going to make it happen in some capacity. I mean,
figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, can we have a Halloween blacklight shoot? we'll figure it out, and we did. We had a Halloween blacklight shoot in here. There's black lights built in it, and it's
awesome.
just,
Shooting
anything
zombies.
that we can do to try to either better your experience, whether it be a bachelor's party or a gender reveal or just buying a gun or a class. That's really what I want it to get out there, is that it's more than a range. And if it's something that we think we can't make happen, we're going to be straight up and say, hey, it's just like a gun. You bring it in and say, man, I need you to fix it. That's what y'all do. I'm not going to try to fix your gun and risk breaking it or can't get the part and then lie to you and give you the back whole story. And I'm going to say, no, man, I can't, but, Sand Mountain Shooters Club can, or take it to these people. I'm not that guy that we're just going to take your money because we think we can fix it.
Right.
And if we do mess it up, it's on us. I'll take care of you, because the customer service, and, you struggle with it. You're not ever going to make everybody happy, but
No.
treating everybody fair and trying to be comparable in prices. And, it's just, I think it's the first impression type of thing. And when y'all walk in here, you see it, and you probably just thought it's a gun range. And I'll tell you what it took to build this place. It'll blow your mind. I mean, it really will.
Sure. Well, Devin, that's awesome, man. And I appreciate you kind of, having us down here and letting us play on an off day too.
Anytime.
Yeah.
But
I enjoy it so much. I can pack up with
and
you
I
and
will-
just don't go on the road.
And I'll tell our listeners too. I know that I'll try to drop in clips from the brand story and stuff where you guys can kind of see and get full scope of what's going on here. But this facility and particularly the range would rival anything that
You got to
will
come
find.
check it out.
Yeah, you will anything that you will see in the Southeast and maybe even the country. I mean, it's just a really, really.
I know it just cost
Well
me
done.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy walked in and already
Just kinda shook my head.
He already had money burning a hole in his pocket when we walked in.
Yeah. In collaboration with people too, and y'all run into it, is that you go to facilities and it's your duty to say, man, this is a great facility. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You eat
Yeah.
somebody's food and it tastes terrible, but it's like, man, this is the best food. And that's, I think, again, that's where we struggle, is like you all are telling your listeners and I'm explaining it, and maybe they live, in Kentucky. This may not even affect them and they may not ever be here. But if it sets a standard for them as like, hey, let me look in Kentucky and see if there's something like
Find
that.
something.
Like again, this is why I opened this facility, is that it's bigger than it is here. And if it doesn't benefit the people here in my particular business, that if I'm in Kentucky and I heard Devin talk about this, and maybe there's a place in my area that does that type of deal, that maybe I'm that guy that my pride's too big, and I get out there, because it was me. It was literally me when we opened this place. Day 3, we come in and they're like, we had to get trained. If I'm going to show these, I can't just be that guy that's like, here's how you shoot a red dot, and I don't know what I'm doing. And I didn't on a lot of things. We've got this guy that can shoot red dots unbelievably, and I get there and I'm kind of like nervous, and I don't get nervous, and I'm like, I don't really know. And all these other guys are drawing, bam, find it, shoot, and I'm like, I can't do that, But I had to get humbled a little bit. But in the same token, I had to learn. And people look at you as like, you open this place and you don't know. There's so much to learn in this industry.
Absolutely.
You'll never know everything.
Yep, no, I agree. Well, Devin, how would people, other than like obviously walking in and checking it out, but could you give us like store hours and contact info if people want to reach out, if there's anything they're interested in? Give us the rundown.
So our website is pretty simple. It's alabamafirearmsacademy.com. We have to do better on our website, because in 3 years, so many things have changed. And what I mean by things is that, whether it's the full autos we have that you shoot, or it may be the pricing, it could be the classes. Our classes change so much as far as we've got a core amount of classes, but the website is the easiest way to kind of see what we're about. The firearm customization piece of it is we got to do better. That's kind of what we're known for, is customizing your firearm and your experience. But that's our website. Email me for questions. If you listen to this and you have questions on something that maybe I said it wrong, you may have people that message in or call in or whatever and say, he was wrong about it. Or maybe they're interested in a service we have. It's info@alabamafirearmsacademy.com. And then furthermore is our Facebook. Again, we talked about it earlier. A lot of people don't see it, but they tell you, man, you need to get out on Facebook now. We get scrubbed so hard. We've been blacklisted 3 times on Facebook. So we can't invite people to our page. when you search for us, yes, it'll come up if somebody you know is following us, but there's not a lot there because we've been black marketed 3 times. But our Facebook account, we are on Instagram at Alabama Firearms Academy as well, and then the info email, again, I like to offer that because I do get questions a lot. That goes directly to me and then to my instructors as well. So we're located in Boaz, Alabama. I do think if it's, something that if you listen to this or you reference it, you can call me, then, maybe if we do this again, I can say, if they come by and reference this particular podcast, I can give them a free rental or targets or whatever, or maybe we do this and we all shoot.
We charge them an extra 10%.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
No doubt. But yeah, well, we really appreciate it, Devin. And again, listeners, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, subscribe, all the things that we ask you to do every week. We've got some pretty cool stuff coming up for you. And again, I know you're tired of us talking about it, but we are inching closer day by day to getting this other venture that we've been talking about for a while off the ground. And we actually have a call with someone today about that, actually, to see if we can't spur that on and get that thing jolted up here pretty soon. So thank you for listening in. Thank you for being a part of what we are trying to do here. If you have any questions or comments, tell us how bad we suck, any of that kind of stuff, you can do that through Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube.
Yep.
Listen to the podcast anywhere that podcasts are streamed. You can find us there, too. So,
most importantly, come to Alabama Firearms Academy.
That's right. Come check them out. I'm telling you, it would rival anything that you will find anywhere. It's a really, really cool facility.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And thank y'all, too. Again, can't do it without y'all at least bringing it up to me and saying, hey, would you like to do this? And, maybe this is something that we start here, and in 5 years we're all doing something bigger, greater, and collaborating. But, kudos to all 3 of you for really pushing this, but also allowing people like myself to be a part of it. So I appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And you might not be able to invite people to join Facebook and stuff, but we can.
We
tag
certainly
you.
can.
We can invite them. So we love you guys. We appreciate you, and we will see you on the next one.
Out.